swear an ant just bit me. Whoa! That is so interesting. Here I am trying to romanticize colouring outside and then I get bitten by an ant. I can't make it work for myself. This is what my brain looks like at the moment. For some reason, I thought it was going to be a lot larger than this. Anyway. So lately, I've been feeling pretty slumpy when it comes to colouring and just creating in general, really. I want to colour, I want to create, but when I sit down to do it, I'm just not feeling that usual spark and excitement. And honestly, there's a lot of self-doubt creeping in as well. So I thought I would bring you along for a couple of days as I try a bunch of things that have helped me in the past when I felt like this. And I'll also just be sharing some general tips and tricks that you can try if you're also in a colouring slump right now. So let's kick things off straight away with my first tip, which might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but it's actually to stop colouring, or at least colour a little bit less. I personally never stop completely because I like to stay consistent with my uploads for this channel. But when I'm feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and just burnt out from life in general, usually the first thing to disappear is my motivation to colour. So I've really gotten better in those moments recently to not force myself to colour. I said it in my last upload, I'll say it again, colouring should never feel like a chore. So if it starts to feel like that, it is totally okay to take a step back. Maybe try dabbling in another creative outlet or hobby instead for a while. Give yourself the space to reset, and I promise that spark of inspiration will come back once you've given yourself the chance to recharge. My second tip is what I'm about to head out and do right now, which is to go on a little bit of a visual inspiration hunt. This could mean visiting an art museum, going for a walk in nature, but my personal favourite way to reignite that passion for colouring is some good old-fashioned window shopping. I absolutely love wandering through a bookshop or an art supply store, not just for colouring books and materials, but also just things with a strong design element like home decor and, I don't know, what can I think of, like stationery or something like that. There's just something about a beautifully curated display and well-designed products that make me want to create again. And luckily, I've never really been one to overspend, so window shopping doesn't pose a threat to my wallet on most days. So with all that being said, let's head out and see what catches my eye. Now, of course, the first thing I'm on the lookout for during a visual inspiration hunt is colouring books. Nothing gets my little creative brain buzzing quite like flipping through some fresh, uncoloured pages. That said, there weren't too many that caught my eye this time. I mean, there were definitely some great books on display, but nothing I hadn't already flipped through recently. After checking out the colouring books, I usually move on to admiring beautiful book covers. And it doesn't even matter what genre or subject it is, I just love soaking in the designs. I think this is my version of wandering through an art museum. One day, I'd love to have my own home library filled with stunningly designed books. Oh, that is the dream. From there, I check out anything within the arts and crafts realm. Washi tape, paint by number kits, stationery, anything that sparks joy and makes my inner child happy. I even take a stroll through the kitchen and home decor sections because sometimes I'll spot a design or pattern that's perfect for inspiring background ideas in my colouring pages. Alright, I am now back from my visual inspiration hunt, aka window shopping. However, it wasn't fully window shopping because I did pick up a few things, 3 of which I will be using / referring to later in this video, and 1 not related to this video whatsoever. I'll show you it anyway. I picked up a multi-purpose therapy heat wrap. Basically, this is a heat bag, and I believe you can wrap it around your body, which just sounds, absolutely perfect for me. That is so interesting. So I think you can kind of like wrap it around your shoulder like that, or around your stomach, which will definitely be handy for me. I'm sure you females out there know what I'm referring to. So yes, these 3 products, I'm not going to tell you why I bought them just yet, but you'll find out shortly. So first off, I have this tiny little watercolor sketchbook. This was literally only $4. 80 pages, 180 GSM, kind of matches the jumper I have on right now. I then have this pack of Japanese inspired origami paper. It comes with 10 designs, double-sided pattern, very cute. This does relate to the video, I swear. An iridescent projection lamp. Stay tuned as to why I bought this. But let's move on to my third tip/method for getting over a coloring slump. This one, alongside the visual inspiration hunt, is probably one of my favorite, and that is testing out new supplies and techniques. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I love pushing myself out of my comfort zone and experimenting and learning new things. I don't know, there's just something about it. It gets my brain thinking in a new way. It gets me out of my perfectionist mode and into a more exploration mode. And that switch is so refreshing. It always reminds me of that excitement that I felt when I first discovered adult coloring. You know, that sense of play, of learning, of possibility, and yeah, trying something new always brings back that little spark within me. So we're gonna head into my coloring room right now, and I'm gonna do a technique that I have tried before, but I've only done it once and it was ages ago, and I'm ready to have a play with it again. So I was actually reminded that I wanted to give this style of coloring a go when I saw this paint by numbers kit here at Kmart. Obviously my visual inspiration hunt was a success. But I've spoken about this on the channel before. I received this easy and artistic coloring book from Ellie and Oscar. That is the artist's name. And basically when they sent me this book, they also emailed me all of the pages, like examples of them colored. And all of those examples are done in these gorgeous color palettes, in these minimalistic, almost acrylic painting type style. And as soon as I saw those, I knew I wanted to give it a go myself in the books with acrylic markers. So that's what I'm gonna do a little bit of today. I'm gonna set myself a timer for 30 minutes and just see how much I can get done. And whilst I'm doing that on screen, I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for the feedback that I got about starting a Patreon. I addressed it in a vlog, I think it was like 1 or 2 months ago now, and I recently realized that I never commented on your feedback. But yeah, so many of you were so supportive and encouraging of the idea. I think I am leaning more towards a Patreon rather than YouTube memberships. I'm not gonna rush into making a Patreon super soon though. I don't really know anything about Patreon, so I want to do a little bit of research first, subscribe to a few different artists' Patreon to see what they offer and give me inspiration on what I could offer to you guys. If there's any Patreons out there that you love being subscribed to, please let me know. I'm just trying to get ideas at the moment. And yeah, so I'm hoping that in a few months' time, I'm thinking maybe around August, I can offer a Patreon and have as little teething issues as possible. I know there's always going to be a learning curve and I won't get things perfect straight away. I nearly have been posting on this YouTube channel for a year now and I'm still trying to figure out my content and what's the best way to film, and that's probably never going to go away. I'm probably always going to keep growing and evolving and changing this channel with how I'm developing as an artist and colorist. But yeah, that was a very long-winded way of me saying thank you for the encouragement and support on the idea of a Patreon. It is coming. I just need to work out what the freak I'm doing first. Okay, so this is how the page is looking after half an hour of doing a bit of acrylic marker coloring. I did pause the timer every time I had to go find a new acrylic marker color, if you're wondering why the end time kept changing. But it's definitely not as easy as I was anticipating in my head. I mean more in the sense of creating a smooth, streak-free application on the page. Of course, this isn't the best paper, and acrylic markers are going to be a little bit streaky sometimes, especially the sort of mid-tone colors. But I just keep trying to remind myself that this is meant to be a low commitment, stress-free book. When I got this book into my collection, I wanted it to be for mindless, simple coloring. And as long as I'm able to de-stress and relax during the coloring process, the end result is the least important thing. This next tip is something that I briefly touched upon at the beginning of the video, and that is stepping away from coloring just for a little bit and trying a different creative outlet. This could be something totally unrelated like knitting, sewing, or baking, or it could be coloring adjacent, but not actually coloring itself. Trying a new hobby can reactivate your creativity in a fresh way. And often that little creative detour helps you reconnect to what you love about making art in the first place. Which brings me to the origami paper that I bought at Kmart. So you may have noticed that in some of my coloring videos, if I need to talk about a particular page and I'm talking about several pages at that in a video, I will add little like post-its and tabs to those pages so that I remember to talk about them. However, I've just been going through so many of those tabs and I know I can reuse them, but eventually they lose their stickiness and I don't know, it just seems like such a waste. So instead, I want to try and make book corners myself. I know you can buy these online, but it seems a lot more fun and economically friendly to just do it myself, do a bit of a DIY. So this is kind of related to coloring. It's going to help with my coloring and my coloring videos, but it's not actually coloring itself. Now, I've looked up a little bit of a tutorial online, which I'll link down below. I am absolutely horrible when it comes to following instructions. Whenever I try to follow like a instruction booklet or a step-by-step picture guide or even a YouTube tutorial, I can't make it work for myself. My brain doesn't work that way. I need someone in real life sitting next to me and correcting my technique. But alas, that is not going to happen here. And also this paper is super duper thin, so I'm not sure if this is going to work. If this ends up being a complete fail, I'll just end up using this paper for some other reason in my coloring pages and just buy some book corners online. But I want to give it a go myself first, so let's see what happens. So I decided to try making my first book corner off camera to take the pressure off a bit, but I had nothing to worry about. It ended up being so much easier than I expected, and I'm really glad I went down the DIY route because I had a lot of fun making them. I've included some real-time footage of me folding one of the corners in case you want to follow along loosely at home, which I highly recommend that you do make some of your own. But I'll also link the tutorial that I followed down below. If I can figure it out, I'm confident that you'll be able to as well. I just followed a very basic book corner design, but there are tons of tutorials out there for more intricate versions. Some people even add googly eyes and little teeth so it looks like a character is chomping down on the page, which is kind of adorable. I ended up making 20 of these, and I think I'll just keep making more here and there whenever I need a break from an intense coloring session and want to do something a bit more mindless and relaxing. My fifth tip isn't necessarily the most fun, but it can make a huge difference, and that is organizing, cleaning up, or even redecorating your coloring space. Whether you've got a small desk or an entire room dedicated to your hobby, you want that space to feel fresh, inviting, and creatively energizing. I know for me, when I'm feeling stressed and overwhelmed, my space tends to reflect that. It becomes this vicious cycle of chaos, and let's be honest, no one is going to create their best work in a space like this. Now, as many of you are already aware, we moved into this house about 1.5 months ago, and I have that corner looking semi-functional, the space you often see me in front of. But the other corner of the room? This is what my brain looks like at the moment. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am not going to be cleaning up this mess in this video because I think it's going to require an entire day of sorting out and organizing. I have done some decluttering though, so I have made a first step. But this corner of the room is an entire day task, and I do not have that within me at the moment. So I am not going to be focusing on the organizing and cleaning up portion of this tip, even though I probably should be. I'm going to focus on the redecorating part. And this is where my iridescent projection lamp is coming into play. Now, I've been going through a lot of turmoil when it's come to decorating this side of the room. I first bought an adorable little artificial plant to put on my bookshelf here, and then my cat Archie knocked it off and smashed it into smithereens. And then in my last ultimate colouring vlog, I bought some adorable fairy lights and decorated the bookshelf with them. And then I came back from my honeymoon and guess who had chewed through them? Archie. But I am still determined to have an adorable, cute colouring space to film at for you guys, and just for me because I love a cute aesthetic room. And so I've really had to think of ways that I can decorate this space that are Archie proof. In comes this lamp. I'm really hoping I can somehow make this look cute against the wall in the background here. I eventually want to add some more fun art pieces on these walls, but time is very limited at the moment. And so I'm kind of hoping this will be a quick fix and just give me a little bit of something to make my heart happy when I'm editing my videos. For some reason, I thought it was going to be a lot larger than this. Anyway, okay, so it's on, and it's on some sort of flashing strobe mode, but I realized that I need to put batteries in the remote so I can control what it's doing. So I'll be back momentarily. Let's play around with a few colors. It's not working. Wait, on, off. Okay, it's working now. Here we go. On. Yes! Okay, on. Blue. Ooh. Red. Whoa, that one's a big one. That's a big one. And also I got to figure out a way to not have it in camera. Whoa! How would you like it if I did my videos like this? Hey. Oh, let me do alpha vibes. That wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I can do finger puppets though. That's kind of fun. Okay, so I decided to try filming from a different angle with the light, and I think this works a lot better. We can try different colors. What's this? Green. Don't like green. Red. Ooh, a bit of a purpley blue moment. That's fun. What's this color? No, that's too light. Oh, that's fun. What color's that? I think that's like a pink. Ooh, that's a nice color too. Yellow. If I wanted something more subtle, I could go with that. I think my favorite is the white one though, that has like the different colors in it. I think once I get this bookshelf decluttered and looking a little bit more aesthetic and possibly putting some artwork up on that wall there, we might have a filming setup winner. I'll keep playing around with things and you can keep giving me feedback in upcoming videos. So the last major tip I have before we dive into some rapid fire suggestions is to change your environment. Ideally, get yourself outside. Kind of like coloring in a freshly tidied workspace, switching things up and coloring in a new spot, especially in the fresh outside air, it can seriously work wonders. It helps clear mental clutter and eases stress, which are definitely the main culprits when it comes to having a little bit of creative burnout. And I believe nature is one of the best workspaces and sources of inspiration for pretty much any artist out there. If you caught my recent honeymoon coloring vlog, you'll know that my husband and I stayed in this gorgeous little eco cabin for a few nights. And while we were there, I colored a page that kind of matched the cozy cabin in the woods vibe that we were staying at, and it seriously elevated the creative experience. There's just something really special about coloring a page that reflects what you're currently doing or the space you're currently sitting in. So this afternoon, I've been out on the balcony at my parents' place, working on my never-ending World of Flowers whip. Their house backs out onto a canal, so I've got this gorgeous, glistening water sitting in front of me. And I swear water settings are what charge me the most. Maybe it's because I'm a water sign, who knows. Ow, I swear an ant just bit me. Here I am trying to romanticize coloring outside and then I get bitten by an ant. But to wrap this video up, I wanted to leave you with a few quick rapid fire tips to help you get over your coloring slump, kick it to the curb. So the first one is to set yourself a timer and just color for 10 minutes. I kind of did this earlier in the video, but I did it for 30 instead. All you need to do is keep it super simple and just get started. More often than not, once you get started, you'll probably find that you want to keep going. It's a great low commitment way to just ease yourself back into the groove of coloring. My second quick tip is to revisit your favorites. Pick a page from your favorite coloring book by your favorite artist and use your favorite supplies. That sense of comfort and familiarity can be really grounding and help remind you why you fell in love with adult coloring in the first place. Number 3 is to let someone else guide the way. If decision making is what's holding you back, try following a color along or a tutorial. It removes the pressure of choosing colors or using certain techniques, and you can simply enjoy the act of coloring without overthinking it. Quick tip number 4 is to rotate between multiple pages. This is something I personally need to get better at. Even though I'm not a fan of having a bunch of whips, the practice itself really does help. Having a few pages on the go means you can choose what you want to work on based on your mood and energy levels for that day. And that flexibility just really helps make coloring feel a lot more, I guess, appealing and not like a chore. Rapid fire tip number 5 is the reason that I bought that watercolor sketchbook earlier in the video, and that is to create a creative dump journal. This is something I am really excited to start trying for myself. A creative dump journal is a no-pressure way to experiment, play, and let out your creative ideas without having any focus on an end result. Think of it like a creative sketchbook meets a brain dump. It's a place to swatch new supplies, test out color combos, scribble, doodle, collage, or make a mess just for the fun of it. The beauty of this kind of journal is that there are 0 rules. It's not about making something good, it's reconnecting with the joy of creating. And the very last rapid fire tip I have for you for this video is to use prompts and challenges. I'm sure most of you are aware of these already, but this is such a fun way to mix things up and just see coloring from a new angle. You can try creating a prompt jar. I do have a free download from my Ko-fi store if you want a few prompts to help you choose your coloring pages. You could use some art dice or a random number generator to choose your coloring decisions. You can follow the hashtags and challenges from different colorists on Instagram, or if you're really looking to mix things up, you could even let a friend, partner, family member, or pet make your coloring choices for the day like I did in these 2 videos here. Now, I'm sure there are a million and one other ways to get out of a creative/coloring slump, but these were my go-to tactics that I wanted to share with you. And honestly, I am feeling a little bit lighter and more inspired than I was at the beginning of the video. Getting out of a slump is not an overnight thing, but I feel like I've kickstarted the process. If you made it to this part of the video, let me know in the comments what your favorite way to get out of a coloring slump is. I'm genuinely so curious, and I'm sure many other colorists in the community would appreciate it as well. But until next time, happy coloring, friends. Have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!